Alright, so you clicked on the video and now you're wondering, is this going to be clickbait? No worries, no clickbait. Make sure to watch this video until the end as I lay out the system that will help you gain at least 30 kilo on your favorite lifts in the upcoming year. During the first few years of going to the gym, everything will just keep increasing. Your weights, your reps and whatnot. In the beginning, it's very simple. However, after a while, you will start to notice that you will plateau. Me personally, I was at a point where for years on end, I was doing the exact same weights for the exact same reps and whatnot. And I couldn't really make much of a difference, no matter what I tried. But you know why? The reason why was because I was always trying to go to failure. Now I know this sounds controversial because a lot of people like to believe that going to failure all the time will give you the best results. And at first, that might actually do really well for you. But after a while, you will start to notice that you're not going to be able to recover from this. By not allowing your body to recover, you're not allowing it to actually get stronger and be able to push it further. You're either going to get less workouts in, or you're going to notice fatigue over time, which will prevent you from pushing further. This is where mesocycles come into place. I personally use a 3-month system where I train for 3 months, do a deload, and then I start all over. And I'll go over the details and how this will work very effectively for you. So at the start of a mesocycle, after I just deloaded, I will start training again with about 3 reps in reserve. This means that you would go 3 reps from the point where you would fill your lift, or at least fill the form on your lift. So how do you determine your 5 rep max? You either do a 5 rep max at the end of your last mesocycle, when you're PRing and pushing your weights every single week, or if you needed a deload that was longer than a week, so you deloaded for a few weeks, then you do a 5 rep max at the start of your new mesocycle. You only do this once, don't push it every week. I know it's very tempting, but this is where I was going wrong myself as well. This is how you will not allow your body to recover. So you determine your 5 rep max. Then you take that number, you go on the internet and you find a 1 rep max calculator. This will show you how many reps you can do with each kind of weight. For example, if your max is 5 reps with 100 kilo on any kind of lift, 5 reps, 100 kilo, you can probably do around 11 reps with 70 kilo. So you reduce that number, 11, by 3, and from now on, in the first few weeks, you will train that lift for 8 reps with 70 kilo. I'm not saying that you should always use 70% of your max weight. This is simply an example of reducing your max amount of reps by 3. The weight you can play around with as you want. However, in the beginning, I would recommend you to stick with lower weights as they will put less strain on you and you can slowly progress from there. The crazy part comes at the end, which I'll get to in this video. Over time, you will add reps and weight and lower the amount of reps in reserve that you have. The first few weeks, you really build it up very slowly. So let's use the example that we just used, where you could do 5 reps at 100 kilo as your maximum. And let's use the example that I used just now as well. So you use 70 kilo and you do 8 reps. That's your first week. The week after that, let's see if you can do 72.5 with 8 reps. If it feels just the same and you recover just the same, the next week you do 9 reps with 72.5. These are examples, obviously, and your progression will be unique to you. There is no cookie cutter way of doing this. So you go based off of how you feel, how you recover. And sometimes you're going to have bad days and good days in the gym. Sometimes I'm able to push much more after having a nice meal or good sleep, or I don't know, I just feel great. Some days I feel like a wreck and I can't move the weight at all. Don't get discouraged by this, because we're talking about a 3-month cycle. One single workout, one bad workout, you shouldn't beat yourself up over it. In about 4 weeks, build yourself to the point where you leave only 1 rep in reserve. So the first few weeks will feel pretty boring. And if you're anything like me, you want to go all out all the time. Don't. After 4 weeks, you will start to feel like you are actually working out again. Like, wow, this is nice. I'm really getting close to the point where I'm about to fail and whatnot. As you get past that 4-week mark, you just keep pushing it every single week as you can. Another rep, some more weight, and after a while, you might notice that you can't recover from it anymore. So what I like to do in the later stages of this mesocycle, since my program is 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, I like to do one workout with very heavy weight and low reps, and one workout with more volume and lower weights towards the end of this mesocycle. I feel that from this I can recover, and I can also experiment a little bit with the weights. And usually on the volume days, that's where I really notice, I have a few more reps left in the tank. Whereas on the days where I use heavy weights and low reps, if I feel like I can't push it any further on the reps or the weights, I just add sets. And then when I get back to the volume days, I notice if it's helping me progress with my lower weights or not, which is usually a pretty good indicator that I'm about to PR on my heavier lifts very soon. Don't make the classical mistake that when you're getting to the end of this mesocycle and you feel very strong, that you want to test your 1 rep max every week. The workouts where you try to do a 1 rep max are workouts that you usually do not get a lot of strength from. They're good for your ego, but they're not good for your program. Also, if you're becoming older, I'm not that old yet, I'm only 31, but I do notice that over time, I just started training much smarter. I noticed that if I do these 1 rep maxes, I'm just hindering my program. So nowadays, I try to stick to 5 rep maxes most of the time. Obviously, at the end of the cycle, and I really mean the very end, like the last week, I will test PRs and make content and whatnot. And it still is very attractive to PR more and more now that I'm making content. So probably for me, I'll try to do like a 2 rep max at the end as well, a 3 rep max or whatnot, but I don't do 1 rep maxing all the time because you're basically just wasting your workouts for ego. Sticking to 5 rep maxes is not only safer for you, it's also very easy to determine your 1 rep max based on your 5 rep max. And doing a 5 rep max only allows you to train for longer without injuries. 1 rep maxing can become very dangerous because you're really trying to push the maximum weight that you can do for 1 rep. If you do it for 5 reps, if you get to the point where you're like, oh, I can probably not do this weight, you'll realize this in the 4th rep and you're still able to simply put the weight back. If you feel tired during some of these weeks and you feel like the weights are not really moving that well, during these workouts, try to focus on perfecting your form and really focus on the eccentric. So let's say you're benching, you're pushing it very fast. On the way back, you really give it time. You really squeeze it all out where you start to shake when you're hitting your chest. And then you move it back up quickly again. What I see many people do, especially if they want to improve their maxes and whatnot, they start to ego lift and their form starts to break down. Make sure that you perfect your form because this is how you will be able to lift healthy for a long time and actually progress the way that you should. Don't bounce it off of your chest or whatnot and do crazy arches with your ass off of the bench and whatnot. So like I said, the moment that you pass about the 4-week mark, you don't really leave that much in the tank. So how am I able to just do more sets? Because like I just said, I will do a lot more volume towards the end of the mesocycle. But I also told you that past week 4, I'm already at the point where I leave almost no reps in reserve. So how am I doing this? Well, this is where you need to get a little crazy. If you can't recover from your workouts normally anymore, this is where you start to do all sorts of supplementation and other methods to improve your healing. I will take much more magnesium. I will use magnesium oil and apply it to the sore spots. I'll go to the sauna for sauna and ice baths. I'll go for deep tissue massages. All these things allow me to keep training the same way towards the end of the cycle. And this is what really allows me to keep pushing my weights and my PRs during every single one of these mesocycles. You need to determine which exercises are worth it for you. Some of these exercises might wear you down way too much for them to make sense to be in your program. Do exercises that feel good for you and where you feel the most tension. For example, when I do tricep pushdowns, I don't like to do it with a straight bar. I like to do it with a curled bar. Why? Because I can push it much lower and get a better squeeze, which I feel just works much better for me. Additionally, no matter how I changed it up, deadlifting just wasn't worth it for me. If I would deadlift, I would have to give up on other workouts, I would take more breaks, or I would have to train lighter or whatnot. So potentially adjust or skip the workouts that put too much of a burden on you. Benching for me was very important, and for years I was benching with shoulder pain because I thought it was simply part of the game. I was doing the thing that everyone says that you have to do. You have those rings on the bar and you put your index fingers on them and then you bench. I had shoulder pain for years. Until I finally decided, it was literally just a few years ago, to put my hands a bit closer, and now my pinky is on the ring. I have no shoulder pain whatsoever, and my bench PRs are continuously increasing now. So if you feel like a few of your lifts are wearing you down way too much, try to either adjust them, and if adjustments don't help and you still can't recover from it and you still have issues such as shoulder pain, lower back issues and whatnot, which are the issues that are most common in weightlifting, then just take them out of your workout and find other exercises that are a good replacement. During each of these blocks, I always choose a focus. Which lift do I really want to improve? So currently, I am cutting. And even though I'm cutting, I'm trying to maintain my strength or gain a little bit. As of now, it seems that I'm doing pretty well. I cut 6 kilo already and I can still do the exact same weight. About a month and a half ago, I did a deload for 2 weeks and then I started a new meso cycle. So right now I'm at about the 4-week mark. This is where my workouts are starting to become interesting again. And I noticed that I'm still pushing the exact same weights. Now, I obviously mean based off of my calculator because I'm not actually doing 1 rep or 2 rep maxes. Again, like I just said, it can be very tempting to want to do that, but I'll just stick to the calculator and do the lower lifts, and based off of that, determine or if my strength is still in the same range or not. So as of now, my main focus is my core and my arms, because my core is currently holding back my squat from further progressing. And my arms, I feel like they need to catch up with the rest of my muscle groups. My back, I'm giving a little bit of a back seat because my back is the most developed muscle group of my body. The way I'm training core is by adding core 2 times a week during my chest and tricep exercise. What I'll do is weighted planks and heavy farmer walks at the end of the workout, but I do them really heavy and I try to really push it. So every week when I do my weighted planks, I try to do it for a bit longer, and I can easily recover from these core workouts and I don't feel they negatively influence my other workout sessions. And then with the heavy farmer walks, they're a real forearm builder, which is one of my focuses now as well. So that's great. I'm combining core and forearms and it really helps me out with my other lifts, I noticed already. So even though this is a cut, I'm still aiming to squat 10 kilo more at the end of this mesocycle, which will be in about 2 months from now. Then after that, I will be slowly building it up again as I get into my bulk. And then during the next year, I will be showing you that I can progress my own lifts by more than 30 kilo again. So you know that the things that I told you in this video are things that I apply myself. Thank you for watching.